I'm used to my Coca-Cola bottle girl that can run up and down the stairs. Now she falls pregnant from my doing, by the way, and the shape changes. When I press the button, she doesn't dance anymore, right?
Pain and harm and hurt does hamper proper communication.
Oh, she's moody, she's dramatic, she has changed, she's not herself anymore. Instead of supporting her, what do? I do the easiest thing, which is to
Welcome to Dr. M at Coffee Time. Welcome, Zakes Luula. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
thank you, doctor, for having me. My name is Zakes Luula. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I work in a finance department in one of the local banks here in the country.
Okay. So the reason why I've invited you is, I just wanted the male perspective on baby daddy. I will talk on the female, the baby mama perspective,
Okay.
and on how this works. And I think a lot of people do view the baby mama as very cold. Not all baby mamas, please. Cold, spiteful, vindictive. So I just want to explain that as a male, you need to understand that I'm talking now in long-term relationships. I'm not talking about a one-night stand. Okay? So I'm talking about long-term relationships where, you've already promised the woman that you're going to lobola her. And when she has a baby, it's already a cut and dry situation. That this man is going to lobola me and he's going to marry me and my future's almost, you know, sorted. But why do I find that when a young woman falls pregnant that's not married, it looks like or appears like the man is running away, like he's abandoning the pregnant woman. Why does it happen?
Yeah, I'm laughing or smiling because you use the word, abandoned, and that's pretty
That's
much
how they feel.
that's how they feel, I guess. But I can talk to this from a man, from a man's perspective. Right? Yes, you can be in a long-term relationship with someone, and you obviously promise, one another sweet nothings, when you are together to say, we are in this together. But I don't think as men we are, you know, prepared for what goes on in a relationship when a woman, falls pregnant. I mean, physically, when a woman falls pregnant, she changes, and that's a fact. I'm used to my Coca-Cola bottle girl that can run up and down the stairs. Now she falls pregnant from my doing, by the way, and the shape changes, right? I'm not sometimes prepared for that because nobody told me that, hey, one day when you make a fall pregnant, this is what's gonna happen, right? But also, I think there has to be some education of some sort that is done for young men, especially to say, when a woman is pregnant, emotionally, she's also going through a lot. She actually needs your support more than ever when
Absolutely.
she's pregnant. She's not herself. So that when she has instances where I'm gonna use the word moody,
Yeah.
you as a man are prepared to deal with that. But also as a man, because I'm not prepared, I'm not ready. I'm thinking of now this young one running in my small one bedroom house or one room that I'm renting. So sometimes financially, I'm not ready.
Because they say a man is more about success, personal success first, then family. And a woman is always thinking about the baby because she has a clock
Yes.
ticking. And she thinks about the family first. I mean, women do their all careers, and I know feminists I don't think that way. I'm talking about the traditional woman that feels, I need to get my family sorted. There are women that says, I'm going to do my career first and focus on my career and then family. But that's women today as well. But men are mainly focused on success rather than family and children. That comes last. isn't it?
That's very true. So
And once
now,
they're successful, now they're okay. Now this is what we can do.
yes, yeah. And funny enough, when we are still dating, we don't somehow discuss and agree on these things to say, okay, no babies until milestone 1, milestone 2 are achieved, right? But when the baby comes now, we make it a woman's responsibility because I'm not, my physical structure is not changing. I can still continue with my life as is, right? I can even run away from my partner and relocate and, find another woman and continue. But sometimes it's also me being, I don't want to use the word scared, but feeling that anxiety as well to say, how am I going to deal with this woman who's pregnant? How am I going to deal with the baby that comes?
Her emotions is erratic. Sometimes they have some
Exactly.
medical issues. You were never diabetic. Now there's the risk
Yes.
of diabetic. There's never high blood pressure. Now there's a issue
It's
of
a
high
whole,
blood
there's
pressure.
a,
Your sweets of your feet are swelling. You just feel like you're a different human being.
yes.
Now, obviously, the moodiness is going to set in. You also have postpartum depression. Depression setting in. I'm not working now. I have to give up my career for now, and I'm going to be at home. I'm going to have all the money I need. It's a lot of things that women also have to think about. I don't think men have to think about all that so much, other than am I able to provide for the baby once the baby's born, or
Yes.
even for doctor's bills and.
Yeah, we don't think about that. And when the woman is going through all of that, I'm now like, oh, she's moody, she's dramatic, she has changed, she's not herself anymore. Instead of supporting her, what do? I do the easiest thing, which is
To run. And I
run.
think the woman's sexual libido is lower during that time. And the man still has a high sexual libido.
Okay.
It's very well, I would assume. Well, I heard that. In my sessions that yes, the men's libido is staying the same. It's not changing.
Yes.
But sometimes with some women, because of the health issues, and they can't always take all the medication that they need because of the baby, the libido is also lower. The energy is lower. The sexual libido is lower. They used to be all energized to clean the house, to cook, and all of a sudden, the man says, but, pregnancy is not a disability.
Yeah. So again, it goes back to the education thing, right? To say, if I were to go and tell or speak to professionals like yourself, to say, my girlfriend or my fiance is pregnant. These are the things that we used to do. Now it makes me feel like she doesn't love me anymore. It makes me feel like she doesn't appreciate me anymore because when I come back from work and I want to touch her, when I press the button, she doesn't dance anymore, right? do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now, what do I do in those instances? Because I'm not probably being able to express my feelings in a calm over a cup of coffee. I'm not educated about it. I just interpret it my own way. Then what do I do?
You turn to another woman for the needs that you want.
I didn't say that. You said that. But yeah, that's what
maybe
happens.
Not in your case or others, but I mean, it then happens that
Yes.
I'm looking for a replacement.
And
she's carrying my baby and she's not able to do 1, 2, 3. So if I can get a replacement and get me through this.
Exactly. And what do we do as young men when we are faced with those situations? I don't come to a professional like yourself. I probably don't even approach my dad or my elder brother. I go to my friend, who probably has not gone through the process. What does he tell me? Dude,
don't allow her to bully you.
Don't allow her to bully you. She's being unreasonable, Where does she think you're getting all the things she used to give you? And then it makes it feel justified for me to go, outside of the norm and do things that will eventually harm the relationship.
That is one scenario, and I just want to say that they are very good men. They do take responsibility, and they do make sure that they really live for their children and really want their children. But then it happens through all these challenges that no one communicates and no one shares, that they then fall out of love and then they break up eventually when the baby's born or even before the baby's born, right? Now the husband, not the husband, but the partner continues, like you said, continues easily with someone else. And the woman has to sit with all the responsibilities, the financial stress, her career, her job, all that. He goes and have another relationship. She hears about he's going to Lebolo. There's a lot of resentment and anger now.
Yeah.
And it's very important that in this instance, that as a baby mama, you need to go and talk to somebody, because when you are walking with this hurt and pain and disappointment, because this guy just shattered your life, shattered your dreams, and sometimes you fall out of love and he leaves, but sometimes you even know where during that time he's got someone else. Lots of pain, lots of hurt, we all agree with that, but you cannot walk in that pain forever and raise your child, because that hurt is going to affect your child. So there are cases when men say, I do pay maintenance, but now the child is being held from me. I can't visit my child. If I need to talk to the child, the child is not there, the child's not available. And the father becomes very frustrated, because he had a father that abandoned him many years ago. And he always said that if I have a child, then I don't want to abandon my child. But now the woman is playing that role, the baby mama, she's playing the role as if he is appearing as if he's abandoning the child. My concern with that is that the mom is angry. She doesn't want to see him at all, so that is why she's keeping the child away. She doesn't even want to look at his face because of her hurt and pain. But the issue there is, I know there's a lot of reasons, we can't mention all the reasons today of why baby mamas behave in the way that they do, please. I know that we have only got a few minutes, so we're just going to use the ones that are more common, okay? And so that is now when she decides, I'm going to withhold, I'm going to keep him away. Some might say, there's jealousy now that he's got a new woman and she's also using the child. My issue is not the baby mama and the baby daddy. My issue is the child that's harmed, because the child needs a dad and needs a mom to develop optimally. The dad has his own role and the mom has her role. And so definitely over years we have found that absent fathers, we all know, we've watched books, we've read books, we found research that absent fathers really, which we'll talk on another time, but absent fathers affects children even when they're older and married one day, because they didn't have the love that they needed from the dad to affirm the male love and the male role in a life. That's an emptiness that she needs to find, that male love. And she's not equipped to do that, because she doesn't know what a male love is about and what is a male love. So this is what I need to add, is that when that child gets older, baby mama, that's one thing that you don't know, is that when the child finds out that you have deliberately kept him or her away from the father, anger is going to show. The child is going to be angry towards you because you have personally robbed him or her from the love of the father. That is different if the father has decided, I'm going to cut myself off. I wanted you to abort. You didn't abort. Everything is with you on your case. It's not even on your case. Even if the woman decides she's not going to abort the child, he still has to pay legally. It's his child. So you do have those cases when the men do abandon the child. And that is the truth, and that is how you need to eventually sit down and share that with the child very sensitively. But you cannot withhold the child legally from the father, because it is going to come out. And then you're going to have to answer one day, why did you withhold me from the love of my father? Yes, but he's a no good. But that the child will say, but that is my decision. Whether I wanted to see my dad, it is not your decision. And so My concern is that, yes, not all moms and dads will live with the child, but it's always important to give it the access and the need that the child needs. The child will need a mother, if the child's not living with a mom, or the child will need the father if the child is living with a mom. And they need to get that love and attention for full emotional development and even other ways of development. Academic development. Sometimes when a child gets up about 10, 11 and is realizing that his dad's not with him, the dad's not there, it does affect some children academically. Um, Particularly if the mom is not able to assist academically because she is a single mom and she has to focus on work only.
Yeah, that's spot on, right? So from a baby daddy's point of view, right? We spoke earlier about a baby daddy's running away, right? Baby daddy's probably not having someone to run to or someone senior to talk to about the situations that they are facing. So again, absent death can be a reason for that. So it's very important for both a boy and a girl child to have a relationship with 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 their both parents, by the way. And you mentioned that sometimes maybe as baby daddies we don't understand the hurt and the pain that we cause the baby mamas when we break up. So maybe for the baby daddies out there, we just sometimes need to acknowledge the pain and the hurt that we cause. That I think can help us engage better, especially at the beginning, of the separation. That we've separated, understand the hurt that I've caused. Let her heal. She's not being dramatic. No, she's going through pain. That I think can help in terms of how we approach the situation. But then if as a baby mama, you deprive, your baby daddy access to your child, one day your child is going to be older. They'll need a father figure to speak to. It could be about relationships, it could be about work, it could be about anything in life. So if they don't build that relationship from the get-go, it will be very difficult for a daughter or a son to just rock up at 25 and you want to all of a sudden have a relationship with your father who's been absent for for so long. Both the dad and most importantly the child in this case, they miss out on a lot of memories and then a lot of foundations that can be built from the young age if you just then the child only has access when they are able to do that by themselves. But also as parents that or as daddies that want to be involved, it also has, right? It also had sometimes the damage becomes irreparable, that even when we move on and have other kids in the future, we may not necessarily be the best fathers that we can be because of the experience that we've had with the first child that we brought to this mother earth. So it's important for us as fathers to have that relationship. And one thing I can advise the baby daddies out there is don't fall with the first shot. If you fail at first attempt, try and try and try again, because it is that important for your child. Yes, sometimes it may have to go the legal route. I'm not in legal myself, so I don't know, but I know there are legal avenues that you can follow to have access to your child. If it gets to that, please proceed and do that. I know it may cost money, but
It's worth it.
it's something that is worth it. So that, like the doctor explained earlier, it's so critical for the development of your child, so that the child can grow up knowing, the child. I mean, I'm an African man. There's ancestors that the child needs to be introduced to. There's family rituals, there's family gatherings that need to be done. The kid needs to grow up knowing all of those things so they can understand and fully know who they are.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I also want to advise, now we're going back to the marriage, and I'm moving back to the marriage, that when you have a baby mama and a baby daddy, it's very important to set boundaries in place. Don't blame the mom, the baby mama, that um, she's meddling in the marriage. You need to sit before you, even when you get married or before you get married, with your wife. You need to introduce the wife, and that's going to be in the best interest of the baby mama. The baby mama would say, I don't want to meet her, and she's not going to raise my child. She's going to influence your child. She's going to have a huge influence. So the more you know about who she is, the better it is for your child. So if he sits down with you, and I know it's painful, and he sits down and has his future wife with you, it's very painful. But that is when you need to, from the word go, say, these are our boundaries. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to give. Right? You cannot say, oh no, but she can't brush my child's hair. He's not going to have time to brush it.
Yes.
You know, the child needs to feel loved by the home he's in and whichever home he goes to. So this is one thing that I found is that when a child grows up and there's never been a home, the child has never had a sense of belonging. He had a mom and a dad, but there's never been a sense of belonging. It affects them in relationships because they attach themselves to the boyfriend or the fiance or the partner so much that when there's a breakup, it's like that sense of belonging is gone and they feel shattered. So one person won't feel as shattered as the other because I have a sense of belonging. I was loved equally in both homes. I was loved by my stepdad. And I must add, very few people do talk about the stepmom and stepdad have not been good and have been abusive and been ill-treating them. But I must add that I have come across stepmoms and stepdads that are genuinely wanting to make a difference in this child's life. I am not talking now about, the child born out of wedlock because of infidelity. That's completely a different thing. That is completely a different emotional level because that woman sees the child as a reminder of a pain. And that's completely different, right? So we're just talking about, and that is why those mamas, those stepmoms are more heartbroken when the child visits because it's a reminder of her pain. Some stepmoms can work through it and some can't. They've just found it very hard, and we have to give those stepmoms time. If it's in the marriage and you had a baby out of wedlock, the husband or the wife. Okay, Zakes, I think we're going to sort of move towards the end of the conversation. Tell me, you have a blended family, like you've mentioned. What have been the rules and the boundaries in place to protect the child? It's not to be spiteful towards the baby mama, but it's to help the child adjust. How does your social community do it, and how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I wish you could have said rules or boundaries in capital letters because I find that to be very important. Because what you are essentially doing, you are bringing together, two separate families that had different rules and different ways of doing things. But then to add to the another element of complexities is that there's a baby mama or baby daddy or baby daddy out there. So that just makes the whole union more complex than an ordinary union. So the importance of rules is important, and you and your partner have to sit and agree on the rules that work for you and for the kids that are in that household. I mean, rules can be rules around discipline. How do you discipline the kids from the different from the different parents? That's very important. You need to sit and agree because, for example, if your child does something that deserves a discipline, if I hit your child with a belt, your child will never forget that for the rest of their life. But if I were to do that to my child, 30 minutes later, they probably have forgotten and it's happy days again. So things around that you need to sit and discuss. But if you can, actually, I would recommend that you also speak to a professionals. I mean, professionals who, like the doctor, who have seen, who know about this better, because it can get quite complex. But also, as a baby daddy, you need to understand that you need to make your new partner, feel empowered. Don't ever make a mistake of making her feel that your baby mama has got a better, access, or she's always the first one. Make sure that whatever you do, you discuss with your wife or your partner, set boundaries. And most importantly, also, communicate with your baby mama. Tell her that now you've moved on. She no longer has the same access that she used to have to you when you were probably still together. Make her understand that if you live with your child in the household, the child has got another mom. If the mom decides that this is the hairstyle that needs to be done on the baby girl, that goes, and the baby mama must live with that. So it's very important as the baby ladies to protect the child, by setting rules, boundaries about discipline. How do we discipline the kids? But also to protect our wives, by making the baby mama know, that she's got no role to play in the new union, even though the child lives, in that household. That's very key.
Do you think she can give her input as well, isn't it?
Yes.
So she will have, so when you meet as a couple, I would suggest, and as a husband and wife with her, and she's complaining that you sit with her together, so that there isn't a complaint about the wife and she's not there. That, okay, this is how you feel, let's see how we can correct that.
Yes.
It's less harm for the child, because the
Yes.
child feels very harmed
Yeah.
when there's no communication, and you're just trying to be, obviously can't be friends, but you're trying to be civil with each other.
Yes, and it works nicely if everybody is coming from a point of view of, understanding that we're doing this for the child. The child must be the one who ultimately benefits in all of this. If the baby mama understands that, as uncomfortable as it may be to sit with, my baby daddy's current partner, but I'm doing this so that I can get the comfort that my kid, or my son or my daughter, is in a comfortable space. That will just ultimately, benefit the child, which is what all this must be all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I think just in closing, I think, pain and harm and hurt does hamper proper communication. And I think both baby mama and baby daddy needs to take responsibility to say, look, let me go for help and work through this pain so that my child won't get the brunt of it.
Correct. Absolutely. We
Right?
need to understand that we are the bigger kids in the situation. Our unholy, behaviors and actions, can only harm our precious gift. That's
Absolutely.
where we need to.
And you want him to grow and develop in the best way possible, because both of you, there's absolutely no doubt that both of you love the child. And I'm talking about those cases where the father does,
Yeah.
and is fighting for the child. A father should not be fighting for the child if he's not taking care of his responsibilities the way he should. But as I said earlier, that the concern is the harm of the child. And always know, baby mamas and baby daddies, when you make a decision, let it be in the best interest of the child. Not what I want, or not what he wants, but what does the child need? Because child will feel loved, and they grow up and they really get to know what actually happened when they were a child. And they then interpret it different to the way you were hoping they would. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I hope that this has been of some encouragement to you.
Sign me up.
Zakes, thank you so much.
Tell me
Thanks for
about
Thank you for
having me.
coming.
that
Appreciate the time.
who were trying to feel alive.